What do you think? Hi, I'm Mary Sue Milliken. I'm a chef and owner of restaurants in Los Angeles and Palm Springs in Las Vegas, Socolo Border Grill, and today I'm here in this gorgeous test kitchen of the LA Times to show you my favorite at-home recipe, which is a recipe for ribs. And it's gonna be summer, so it's a good time to share this recipe with you. I love these pork ribs. I like to, take them out of the package. They usually come in plastic packages, and then I just like to dry them really well. After all these years of being a chef, I've learned a lot. And one of the things that I don't eat a lot of meat, but when I do eat meat, I love a really good quality, and I like to treat it with so much respect. So the thing I've learned about like a roast chicken or these ribs is I salt them carefully and pepper them and then put this rub of herbs on and let them sit overnight uncovered in my refrigerator to dry a little bit. All the flavors kind of concentrate into the meat and, it's just a far superior result. And I like to put this on first, just to make sure that I'm hitting every little nook and cranny of the ribs so that it's kind of like almost like a cure, a light cure. And I like to put it on the edges, on the bones. Then I'm gonna let this just sit for a moment while I make the paste, which is gonna be made up of sage leaves. And I should also mention that this recipe is inspired by a recipe in Bruce Aidel's pork book, because he has a beautiful recipe for, I think they're like Italian-inspired ribs. But I have upped the amount of herbs and fennel seeds by like 3 or 4 times. So these are all kind of what I would call the sturdier herbs. They're not the soft herbs like basil and parsley and cilantro, and these will hold up really well for this use. Hold up to both the fatty pork, and we're gonna use some balsamic vinegar, and we're also gonna use some hot chili pepper with a little bit of a bite. So we're definitely, these heartier herbs, sturdier herbs, hold up to those flavors better than the soft ones, in my opinion. I love thyme. Some of the top ends of the branches are pretty innocuous, so I don't take them off. I just take as much of the bottom part of the leaves off and leave the really tough part of the stem there. But there's other times when like the thyme can be leggy and not very easy to clean. And that's when I take it from the bottom, and then I take because the top is just gonna come off, but if you can go backwards on it, that really works really well. Yes, I grew up eating pork ribs in Michigan on the beach, grilling over live coals, and the glaze, unlike my mom's, which was the ketchup-based, very sweet one, this one is more acidic. So it's balsamic vinegar, basically, with just a little bit of the juice that collects in the foil when I cook this slowly over indirect heat. And that's it. I'll put them in the bowl, actually, and then I'm gonna add a good amount of garlic. I want to add some spice. So I like anything you have at home. If it's crushed red pepper, that's fine. This is an Urfa chili. It's got a real earthy kind of flavor. This one is called Aleppo, which is of course Syrian. And I also love that. So I'm gonna use about a teaspoon of each of those. But whatever you have at home will work fine, as long as it adds some kick. The other thing that really makes this recipe sing, in my opinion, is the fennel seeds. And it's a lot. way more than Bruce Adele puts in his. You can see that they're pretty pulverized, but a little bit of texture left. And then I'm gonna moisten everything with just a splash of olive oil. Not too much, because I want it to really stick to the ribs. I'm gonna put this on both sides, and then I'm gonna let it sit overnight in the refrigerator to cure. And the thing about ribs that's cool, they sit with like an air pocket underneath. So you don't even have to put it on a rack. Sometimes I do, but because these bones are gonna hit the bottom of the cookie sheet, it's kind of an automatic lift, so the air can circulate all around. What I'm gonna do is just put it in the refrigerator like this and let it cure overnight for about 24 hours until it's, like I said, a little dehydrated, a little bit more condensed in flavor. Imagine that our ribs have been drying out in the refrigerator overnight, and now they're ready to start to cook. So I'm gonna cut them in half so it's a little bit easier to handle, just like that. And then I'm gonna wrap them really well in foil. And I'm gonna cook them indirectly. I like to use a double piece of foil so that I can make sure that I collect all the juice inside. This is another sort of little trick that chefs, I think, have discovered over time that just concentrates the flavors. Because we're gonna cook this inside this package. If I just cooked it on the fire the whole time, all the beautiful aromas that would be coming into the air would be leaving the pork and going into the great atmosphere, when you'd rather have them all concentrated right inside there. Wrap it up like this, and then I'm going to cook it over indirect heat at about 300 degrees on the grill, or if you wanted to do this on in your oven, you can do that as well. Depending on how thick the ribs are, about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. Just want it to cook until it's not quite falling off the bone, but has still some chew, because the next step after the par cooking is going to be to put it on a hotter grill over direct heat and glaze it with the balsamic. So these ribs have cooked now for about an hour and 10 minutes. I've been moving them around. This side of the grill is off. Well, this side of the grill is on quite hot. So this is the indirect part. It's definitely warming up and becoming cooked for sure. The way I check is just to push my finger, and if I can get in between those bones, I feel like that's enough. That's what they look like. I'm gonna capture this beautiful pork juice in a little pot here to make sure that I put that flavor right back into the dish. I'm going to make this glaze. I'm going to go ahead and put some on top before we put it on the hotter part of the grill. I always cut the ribs into the piece, single ribs, because these are so meaty. Like I said earlier, they're absolutely gorgeous and they're warm, which is the way you want them. They are pretty much all in addictive. You make these at home and I promise you're going to have a lot of fans. What do you think?